Welcome and welcome back to my channel. If you are new to my channel, please do not forget to hit that subscribe button. If you are watching this video, you're either here because you watched the part 1, which is going to be about my fibroid story, and now this is a part 2 where I'm going to be talking about my robotic myomectomy journey. So I am 6 weeks post-op, as I mentioned in my fibroid story. Please do not forget to refer to that video just to get a little bit more information on what exactly I was dealing with when it came to these fibroids. So for this video, I did write down notes so I could keep everything aligned. I want to make sure that you guys have as much information as possible. This is a major surgery, so it is nothing to play about, y'all. So I want to make sure you guys have all the information that I could possibly give. So yeah, let me just dive in. I'm going to start the video by giving you guys a Google definition of robotic myomectomy. Robotic myomectomy, a type of laparoscopic myomectomy, is a minimally invasive way for surgeons to remove uterine fibroids. Compared to open abdominal surgery, with robotic myomectomy, you may experience less blood loss, have fewer complications, have a shorter hospital stay, and return to normal activities more quickly. So for my experience with the robotic myomectomy, at first I had to meet with my surgeon for a surgeon consultation. Fortunately, I did not get my surgery from my OBGYN. My OBGYN does not specialize in that. However, she did refer me to a surgeon that works with all of her patients and someone that she trusts. Not only that, but I was grateful enough to have her come into the room the day of my surgery. So that's top-notch service right there. I was super appreciative of that. So the surgery consultation is pretty much you just meeting the surgeon. For me, I was pretty much interviewing the surgeon. For my surgery consultation, the surgeon basically just did an examination and, he went through paperwork and he was like, wow, this is a massive fibroid. You're pretty much carrying a 13.5-week pregnancy and it's literally sitting on your bladder. Because during my examination, literally he was like, all I see is a fibroid and all I could feel on your abdominal is just fibroids. So this was back in October, probably the second week of October. And my surgeon scheduled for my surgery to be November 18th. After going home 2 days later, the head nurse called and she was like, the surgeon doesn't feel comfortable with having you just walk around with that fibroid. You need to take it out as soon as possible. So can you come in next week to get it done? So you guys, I had to cope with the fact that, for one, I thought I had over a month to sit on, this major surgery, but now I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to do it next week. It was a lot to take in, but he had to prepare for it. I'm definitely talking about it super chill, but y'all, I was definitely panicking. For this robotic myomectomy, you have to be extremely brave going into it because it is a major surgery. When I went in for my pre-op, they gave me a bag that included hydration fluids, also antibodies like soap so I could, take showers with prior to my surgery. And also I had to do some blood work. They will not operate on you if you are pregnant. Oftentimes people do discover their fibroids during pregnancy and that's what, puts you at high risk. So they will not operate on you if you are pregnant. They do get blood work to see what your blood type is. I found out that I was A positive, and that is because, again, you are having a major surgery, so they will have blood transfusions. So they will have blood transfusions on deck just in case they need it. and also the COVID test. So that's pretty much all you do for your pre-op. Then you go home and, you know, prepare. You're drinking your hydration fluids every night up until the day of surgery. Okay, so now we'll talk about the day of the surgery. So the day of the surgery, I went in at 5:45 a.m. I went with my mother and my boyfriend. Right now it's COVID, so typically it's only like one person, but they kind of like let it slide for me to have two people with me. So when I went into the room, they put me into like a waiting room. Basically I met all of the people who worked on me, like anesthesia, pretty much everybody. They were telling me what they were going to be doing on me. Yeah, pretty much all of that. Thankfully, like my OBGYN said, she said she'll show up, and she showed up, and I was so grateful. When I went into the operating room, I know absolutely nothing that has happened in that room. I wish I could tell y'all, but your girl was out, okay? So my surgery was scheduled for an hour and a half, and they said like 2 hours just in case. You guys, my surgery ended up lasting a whole 5 hours. So I was being operated on for a whole 5 hours and I had absolutely no idea what was going on the whole time. My mother and my boyfriend, of course, were super worried because, you know, they were told no more than 2 hours. So they were in the waiting room, panicky. But, you know, praise God, the surgery was successful. The only thing with me waking back up, I was not able to wake up for another 5.5 hours because of the anesthesia that they, you know, inserted in me to keep me asleep for that additional 3 hours. So they had a hard time waking me up, to the point that the nurses were like literally trying to shake me to wake up. I could not wake up. So I was pretty much out from 7:15 a.m. till like 5:30 p.m. So I was out all day. Once I woke up, I got to see my mother and my boyfriend, and I was happy because I was nervous that if I did not wake up next to a familiar face, I would panic. But, you know, thankfully I woke up to them, and I was grateful. Hence why I say you guys should definitely bring in a support system, and I feel for you if you do not have one. So I was moved over to the recovery room. You guys, I watched a lot of YouTube videos on robotic myomectomies, and everybody's like, yeah, then you walk, then you do. No, not everyone's fibroid is the same, and not everyone's surgery is going to be the same. During surgery, I lost a lot of blood, and I'm in my head, you know, thinking it's time for me to walk. So the nurse rolls me into my recovery room, and I'm like getting up and I'm like walking to my recovery bed, and I shouldn't have done that. I have a hard time allowing people to help me. So this whole experience taught me that, you know, Sin, you have no choice but to allow people to help you. So I got up and I went on the recovery bed, and then you guys, I needed to pee so bad. I needed to pee so bad that it was like a burning sensation on my stomach. Like my whole stomach felt like it was burning. It was a pain that I cannot describe. So my mother helped me to the bathroom, and I sat there for 20 minutes and just absolutely nothing came out. I did not know what was going on. I started panicking. I'm like, I can't pee. I just was not able to pee. So my mom called in a nurse, and they came in with, I believe it's like an ultrasound to like check your bladder. And my bladder was full to the max. When I tell you guys, I thought I was dying. I literally asked my mom to pray. Everything was irritating me. I was like, I need to pee. Like, I just don't know what else to do. Like, I just need to pee. So the nurse came in, and then they ended up having to put a catheter. I hope I'm saying that right. They had to put that in because I was not able to, my body was not responding due to all like the medicine that I had in me and all the, you know, what do you call it, anesthesia, all that stuff. So my body was not responding to just like peeing naturally, so I did have to have a catheter. And that was probably like, I felt so low because I've never had a surgery before, y'all, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, is this my life? I hope I don't have to keep this, like. And also I was on drugs, so I was in my head a lot. After that happened, you know, I tried to fall asleep. By this time it's nighttime. You guys, I hated the hospital so much. I did not even want to stay at the hospital. I hated the hospital so much because the nurses will wake you up pretty much like every hour, like to give you medication or something. And I'm like, I just want to sleep because I don't want to feel this pain. You're going to be in pain, y'all, and I'm not going to make that up. You are going to be in pain. So I just wanted to sleep, but the nurses will constantly wake you up, so by like 4 in the morning, I couldn't sleep anymore. And my mom is like, well, let's practice walking. Getting up to walk is definitely going to be a struggle for you guys, especially the first few days if you are getting the surgery. Getting up to walk is steps. So you just have to like prop up and kind of chill there for 2 or 3 minutes. And then, you know, I sat on the edge of the bed and I chilled there for like 3 minutes. The first time I did this, you guys, I ended up pretty much passing out. During my surgery, I lost a lot of blood. So my oxygen levels were constantly just dropping. So I couldn't get up for the walk. Instead, the nurse had to come in and hook me onto an oxygen tank. Due to me being under for so long, when you're under, they kind of put like a breathing tube down your throat. So I had a breathing tube down my throat for a very long time, especially because I couldn't wake up after the surgery. So I had a breathing tube down my throat pretty much all day. So for that reason, they gave me this, I forgot what you call this, but you're supposed to blow through this and get to like a certain level. And every time I look at this, I'm like, wow, I can't believe I couldn't even blow to 1,000. And I couldn't leave the hospital until I got to 1,500. So I just, you know, I came a long way because my breathing was bad for even 3 weeks after surgery. Ugh. And that's mainly because of that oxygen tube being down my throat for so long. However, after that happened, you know, now it's the next day. I had time to kind of like regroup. You guys, I can't express it enough. I hated the hospital. I was like that child who's trying to break out. My surgeon was not okay with me leaving because of the blood loss, but you know, they were like, you can't leave until you are able to pee on your own. Mind you, I still had the catheter. Until you're able to walk on your own and until you're able to go number 2. So I cheated my way out of the hospital, y'all. I definitely cheated my way out of the hospital. I did not want to stay there another night. So pretty much the whole day I was working on getting out of the hospital. I started walking. I was like, Ma, let's go. I gotta walk. My baby is walking. Woohoo. Jesus is alive. Jesus is alive, forever is alive. So I may insert some videos of me walking, but I started walking. Then, you know, later on I was like, you know, I want this catheter out because for one, it's uncomfortable. I could feel it every time somebody touched it. Like when my mom would pick it up, I felt that. It was too much. So I ended up getting that taken out the next day, thank goodness. And I lied and said I used the bathroom. You gotta do what you gotta do, okay? That's one thing that I did not really realize I was going to experience, y'all. Gas is I can't even speak. gas is its own beast, okay? Like, gas is so painful because it goes through your whole body. Like, I had a lot of shoulder pain because of the gas, and sometimes I still kind of do. Like, I kind of feel the gas like in my body, and it's been 6 weeks. So yeah, I had a lot of shoulder pain. I had a lot of pain pretty much everywhere. I was not able to go number 2 at the hospital, and I was not able to go number 2 for a few days. So that's just me being transparent. However, the second day in the hospital, I lied and I said I did. So they let me leave. What I did not like about leaving the hospital was that I didn't have any eating restrictions. I feel like they kind of miss a little area where they could help, you as a patient, by giving you guys eating restriction, or at least just informing you like, hey, maybe you should eat according to your blood type, because fibroids is pretty much a body trash. It's a tumor that collects all the trash in your body that your body does not like, and it gets bigger. For me, I discovered that I was an A positive patient when it came to my blood type, and I looked at my blood type chart. I can't have red meat, I can't have lamb, I eat mushrooms, and these are things that they should say, hey, stay away from these foods so you don't bring those fibroids back. You are at risk of getting fibroids again because they go away, but they can always come back. So I was able to leave the hospital late the next day and, start my day at home. I was happy to be back home because, I wasn't as bothered as I was in the hospital. You guys, when you're home, this is when you're going to need help. I know some people are able to do it on their own, but you're gonna need a lot of help. I know I did because I had a lot of complications with my surgery, so I definitely needed help. My mother was giving me showers like I was a whole baby again. I was not able to give myself a shower for 4 days until after the surgery. I couldn't do it by myself. I needed help. And I was constantly out of breath because I told you guys that, the oxygen tubes. So I was constantly out of breath, and I definitely needed a lot of help. Something that you guys are going to experience due to having, for me personally, I was operated on my uterus. They actually had to operate my uterus and then kind of close my uterus back up. So with that being said, my hormones were out of whack for 4 days. Not 4 days, 4 weeks. I'm sorry, I wish it was 4 days. My hormones were completely out of whack for 4 weeks. I was definitely emotional a lot, not only because I was on medication, which I stopped taking after 6 days because I'm not a medication girl. I don't like meds. But not only because of the medication, but because my organs are trying to find its way back to its proper space before that fibroid came in and interrupted. So my hormones were completely out of whack. I went in for my 2 weeks post-op, and I kid you guys not, the nurse asked me, how have you been doing? And then I started crying. I said, to be honest, it's funny to me now, but at the time it was not funny. I would be home and I'd just be upset. If my boyfriend would go to work, I'd start crying because I'm well, I'm stuck in this bed for 2 weeks, and I could easily see how someone could get depressed by just being on bed rest, because it is a lot. And not only that, but your body is in pain. Your body is not the same, I was definitely hormonal, and you guys will be hormonal too, no matter what. You can't duck that. But I think the hormonal part ended at 4 weeks. To make matters a little bit complicated for me, about 4 days after my surgery, I had my period. Your girl was going through it, okay? I just had my whole uterus operated on, and I had my whole period. But the crazy thing about this period is it was not as bad as I thought it would be. It was actually less painful than my old normal periods, so I was thankful. However, the surgeon did tell me that my periods will be a little bit abnormal. My first few periods will be abnormal. Today we're 6 weeks post-op, and I've had 2 cycles, and they just keep getting better and better. I'm not even complaining, which it's such a relief. Complete 380, 360, whatever, complete change. So I'm super thankful for that. However, that is definitely something that you guys should expect. Your cycles will not be normal right away. I'm still waiting for my new norm, which I'm excited about. So with the robotic myomectomy that I got, I had 3 incisions on my stomach, and also everything came out of my belly button. So I had 3 incisions and then like a belly button. My belly button has like a whole bunch of stitches. I currently still do not have sensation on my belly button, but it's okay. However, my scars healed up pretty quickly. I believe the tape that was on my belly, and I'll insert pictures, I believe the tape that was on my belly dropped at like a little bit after 2 weeks after the surgery. That's when the tape dropped, and I was like, are y'all kidding me? Like, this is it? This is all it was? I was grateful. With time, the scar is going to heal even better. So after my surgery, my uterus went from a size 13 centimeters to a size 2 centimeters. So there was a huge difference, and I just wanted to make sure that I also mentioned that in this video. Prior to going in and getting my surgery, the doctor estimated that if I was open to have kids, I would have to wait 18 months after surgery. But the surgery was so successful that after the surgery, they were like, if you want to have kids and you want to try to have kids, you can try in 6 months after your surgery. So that was great news, because I'm someone who 3 doctors said I can't have kids or your uterus has to come out. So now I have, now I'm able to carry a child, which makes me extremely happy. However, the only kind of downside about getting the robotic myomectomy is that if I do carry a kid, I could only have a C-section. To me, I had to just let that go, because, in my head, I think I could plan everything out, and then God is like, no, you can't. I always wanted to have like a water birth, but that's out of the list now. But you have to have a C-section. You could only carry up to like the first few days of your full term, and then you have to go in to have a C-section. Also, I do have a 3-kid minimum, 2 preferably, because my uterus was operated on, which is fine, because I wasn't trying to have more than 1 kid anyways. But eventually now I have my womanhood back in a sense. Like I do have my womanhood back, and I'm extremely excited about that. It has been a long time coming, so I'm super grateful, y'all. I'm literally someone who doctors were telling this, telling that, and then I had to just push through. If you are dealing with fibroids and you have fibroids and they may have been as bad as mine, a lot of people say to cure your fibroids naturally, but you can't always cure everything naturally, and I had to come to terms with that, because I tried to cure my fibroids naturally, but by the time I even found out I had fibroids, it was the size of an orange. So that is extremely hard to shrink, because fibroids do shrink. That was extremely hard to shrink, and I was not able to do it. Had I just cured my fibroid by myself some way, somehow, I would have basically gave birth to a 13.5-week fibroid, like a huge fibroid, which would have been dangerous anyways. So I do not regret getting my robotic myomectomy. I'm thankful that my surgeon did the absolutely best job possible. I don't regret anything about this experience. It has taught me a lot about myself, about my strength. I definitely feel super empowered because I've learned so much about the female body. Like, I went through so much and now I'm like back better than ever, you know? So I'm super, super grateful about that. If you are thinking about having a robotic myomectomy, do what is best for you. Do your research, interview doctors. I don't trust doctors, y'all. I don't. But interview doctors, do what's best for you. There's different surgeries that you can have to remove a fibroid. So explore all of your options before you stick to just one. But I hope my video was helpful. I hope that you found some sense of peace. Some sense of peace of mind, because I did not lie to you. You will be in pain, but you just have to be brave. You just have to be strong through this process. But yeah, if you found my video super helpful, informative, or you just enjoyed watching me talk about this crazy surgery, then do not forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and you guys, I encourage you to share this video with one woman in your life. Us as women, we tend to go through a lot, and we don't always tell people what we are going through. I know firsthand that I kept a lot to myself. So share this video. This might be helpful to at least just one person in your life, one female in your life. Even though we do have friends, we don't tell our friends everything. We don't tell them the super details. So hopefully, again, I can't stress it enough. Hopefully this video was helpful. Hopefully my fibroids video was helpful as well. Again, do not forget to check that video out if you haven't already. And stay tuned for everything else that's about to happen on my channel. I'm super excited to, you know, get my life back. So I hope you guys are ready to come along. I don't know what you guys are coming along to, but I hope y'all are ready. But wait, I cannot end this video without just thanking everybody in my life who reached out to me and, you know, just kind of like sent their concerns and just simply cared. I received so much love through this process, and I'm so appreciative of it. And I know I did not tell a lot of people what was going on, but now y'all know. And I'm so glad to have had all the support that I received. Thank you guys so much for the flowers, the balloons, the gifts, just the company coming in and just, you know, chilling with me. I just simply really appreciate it from like the bottom of my heart. I can't thank you guys enough. I just feel like I need to tell the people in my life that, because y'all, I was going through it and you guys were there every step of the way.